In today's video, we're going to be talking about some comments from the future CEO of Sony, Kenshiro Yoshida, and he talked about how many subscribers there are to PlayStation Plus, which is a very interesting topic. Far Cry 5 has some insane DLC, and we'll be talking more about that coming off the announcement of Far Cry 3 Classic, and one of 2017's more anticipated titles has turned out to be a complete flop, at least from a commercial perspective. More on that in a little bit. Let's first talk about what Kenshiro Yoshida had to say. And if you guys somehow don't know, Kazurai has stepped down, and Kenshiro Yoshida will be taking over his position. Kazurai will still be a big part of the company. It's just that he might not be as big of a focal point when talking about PlayStation, but I'm sure he'll still give his insight from time to time. However, Kenshiro Yoshida talked about the state of PlayStation business. We talked a little about this yesterday. Business is doing really well. However, one very interesting topic that he went across is PlayStation Plus. He mentioned that PlayStation Plus is a big factor in Sony's revenue because it's recurring revenue. The subscribers that you have are paying either a monthly or a yearly fee or even a quarterly fee to access the PlayStation Plus features, so you're constantly getting more and more revenue out of them. That's how subscription services work. That's why I don't see PlayStation Plus and Xbox Gold going anywhere anytime soon. They just bring a lot of money to these companies, and it's repeated revenue. That's the big thing. It's consistent. He also did go into how many exact subscribers PlayStation Plus had, and that is a whopping 31.5 million paid subscribers as of December 31st. 31.5 million sounds like a lot, but considering that the PlayStation 4 has shipped around 76.5 million units, that may be a little surprising, but when you factor in those that have bought the console multiple times, say somebody that bought a PlayStation 4 and then bought another one, upgraded to a Pro, all of that, 31.5 million is a very respectable number, and remember, a significant portion of that have been subscribers for a while, so these 31.5 million paid subscribers are giving you revenue month over month, quarter over quarter, or year over year. That is a lot of revenue. Also, to parlay into that, he mentioned that between October and December of last year, digital sales on the PlayStation Network increased by 41%, and that was about $2.73 billion. That was the biggest in company history, and that is pretty incredible. We are seeing more and more that digital gaming is the route that a lot of gamers and publishers are gonna go because you mitigate so many other costs. Selling a game digitally is gonna give you a lot more revenue than selling a game through a physical brick-and-mortar store. The argument of physical versus digital is something that I don't want to get into right now. There's so many debates that can be drawn up between that argument, but if you still somehow are not accepting the fact that digital gaming is the future, I don't know what to say. It's probably a future that's still a ways away. There's still a significant portion of gamers buying their games physically, and that option is great, and it's still a necessity because not everyone has a great internet connection, and some people just want their games physically. But as more and more gamers go the digital route, that is the route publishers and developers are also going to settle into. And with these numbers that Sony have revealed, financially, that's probably the route to go anyway. Moving right along, yesterday we talked about Far Cry 3 Classic Edition, which is Far Cry 3 coming back to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Now, they are dubbing it as Far Cry 3 Classic Edition, so to me, when you call something Classic Edition, that sounds like they aren't really remastering it. However, on an official post over at the PlayStation blog, they do say that Far Cry 3 Classic Edition is an update to the classic open-world adventure game, so who knows how big of an upgrade Far Cry 3 Classic Edition will be over the original Far Cry 3, but you are gonna get it as a part of the Far Cry 5 Season Pass, and along with that Season Pass, you are getting a lot of DLC for Far Cry 5, and it's very interesting DLC content. You have Dead Living Zombies, where you'll struggle to survive in a zombie-infested wasteland, facing off against hordes of the undead. In Hours of Darkness, you'll be brought to Vietnam, and Lost on Mars will obviously take you to Mars, so Far Cry has always been a little bit zany, a little bit off the wall, had some very interesting themes. We saw with Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon that they are not shy to try different things, and with the Far Cry 5 DLC, it looks like they're going that route as well. Far Cry 5 has been a game that hasn't had too much anticipation surrounding it. I think a lot of gamers are just waiting to see how the game turns out. We played Far Cry 3, that was a great game. Far Cry 4 was more of the same, and Far Cry Primal didn't hit home with a lot of gamers. So Far Cry 5, while it looks good on the surface, I think a lot of gamers are just waiting to see how the game turns out before they buy it. But the Season Pass definitely looks pretty enticing. You get Far Cry 3 Classic Edition, and you get some very interesting pieces of DLC, so that's pretty cool. And finally, we're gonna wrap up this video with some sad news. It looks like Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite has flopped. Now, this doesn't come off too surprising. While Marvel vs. Capcom is one of the most iconic fighting game franchises in the world, Infinite just did not live up to expectations. There was a lot of things wrong with the game. Content-wise, it was a little bit depleted. The single player wasn't that great, and the art style left a lot to be desired. Sales-wise, it didn't do all too well either. Capcom's latest financial reports have revealed that the game has sold 1 million copies. Now, while that sounds good on the surface, a lot of studios would be happy with selling 1 million copies. However, Capcom was expecting to sell 2 million copies of the game within the same time frame, so this is a colossal disappointment. It's unfortunate, but for the level of quality that Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was, you kind of have to say that it was deserved. That's gonna wrap up this video. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section down below. What do you think about PlayStation Plus having 31.5 million subscribers? Does that kind of annoy you, knowing that Sony has this many subscribers, they're making this much money off PlayStation Plus? But a lot of gamers would say that the PlayStation Plus game offerings haven't been that great. Personally, I thought the last 2 months were pretty good, but I know a lot of you guys disagree with me on that. What do you think about Far Cry 5? Are you enticed by the Season Pass? You get Far Cry 3 Classic Edition, and you get some pretty interesting pieces of DLC. And what do you think about Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite seemingly flop, with the game selling half of what it was expected to? I think flop would be the correct terminology here. Sound off with your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.